I'm trying to get a little bit strong, so I'm eating a little bit extra food. Let me just explain what breakfast looks like. Now, breakfast is usually, for me, after I've done an hour of cardio, after I've done my, not high intensity work, but more of like a circuit. I normally do the Indian press-ups, as you guys might have seen, or you don't see, I don't know. I might show you those later. Pull-ups, dips, some lunges, you know, just the basics. Well, they're not the basics for most, but they are the basics for me. Okay, so what I've got here is 5 whole eggs, 5 whole eggs, salt, pepper, and this is sourdough bread. I quite like sourdough bread at the minute, and there's a lump of butter on each one. Now, this is just what I like to do. I'm not telling you guys to do this. This is something what I do, and I wanted to be perfectly honest with you how I do it. So here goes. I have jam with my eggs, yeah. I know, go figure. Butter and jam on my toast with my eggs. I ain't afraid to admit it. I don't know if this is a thing, like, you know, pineapple on pizza is kind of a thing. And guess what? I don't even mind pineapple on pizza. So, go figure that one out. But I don't know where I came out with this from. This is, I'm sure this is not a common thing. And yeah, if you can see that, I spread a lot of jam. I'm very generous with my jam. So, spread a lot of jam on there. These eggs, if you're wondering, are, what do you call that? Fried egg, but like it's runny. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's runny, like a runny egg inside the middle. But I like the white fully cooked. For those people that have raw egg whites or they have eggs in a shake, bro, you can have it, bro. I ain't saying you can't have it. I'm just saying I ain't gonna have it. If you want it that way, you have it that way. I once read somewhere that if you don't cook your eggs, then the protein content in the eggs isn't complete or it's not full. And, you know, there's a thing where you sometimes read things to fit your narrative. I used that article, which was probably wrote by nobody, and I probably just made that up in my head. But guess what, bro? It works. But the reality is, to be honest with you, when I have eggs that aren't fully cooked, I don't like the texture in my mouth. That's the actual truth. Don't like the texture. I don't like the eggs overcooked. The texture of overcooked eggs is very rubbery. The texture of eggs cooked perfectly, for me, is perfect. Do what suits you. You can have eggs, you can have chicken in the morning. It doesn't have to be eggs. I don't always have the same thing. I have phases of eating this kind of food. I have phases of eating chicken. I have phases of eating just nuts. So, for me, it doesn't get boring. But, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes, not with every single meal, but especially with eggs. I can't say the same for like chicken and stuff, because I can eat chicken every day. I can eat steak every day. I can have tuna every day. But with eggs, I have a phase with eggs where, like the minute I'm eating eggs every single day, no issue. But then there will be a time where I'll be so sick of eggs. Like when I was out in Thailand just recently, I couldn't stand eggs. Couldn't stand eggs. Like, I'd feel sick at the sight of eggs. So what I used to do was I used to get up, I used to do my cardio. Yeah, do my cardio first always. Then I used to go to the gym and train. After training, plenty of walking. Then I had my first meal, but it wasn't eggs, it was cashew chicken, fried cashew chicken with rice. And I was pretty lean. Well, I was very lean. Definitely below 10% body fat. So the point is, I go through phases with eggs, but everything else stays pretty much consistent. In fact, no, one other thing. Tuna. Tuna is one other thing as well that I go through phases with, because tuna is another thing where I love it, I like it, and then I hate it. I really, really hate it. At the minute, I'm actually in a phase where I'm loving tuna, and I'm loving eggs. So, eggs are in the diet, tuna's in the diet. I might have a tuna sandwich later on today. And yeah, when I say tuna, I'll have it in a sandwich only. That's how I like it. As you can see, this is standard breakfast for me. I am going to have these grapes. I think today there's like 200 grams of grapes in there. Gram. They look a bit big, these ones, but always wash the crap out of that. I mean, how much actually washes out, who knows? Probably the worst thing you can eat is fruits and vegetables. People are like, what the hell is this guy on about? Is he off his head? If you know what it takes to make them grapes, you'd understand where I'm coming from. Most people think that the fruit and vegetable we have nowadays is very natural, but the reality is there's so much chemical BS going on in our fruit and nuts, not nuts, but fruit and veg, that you'd be surprised to even, like, I mean, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know because I need fruits. I don't even want to know. I mean, if you think chicken is bad, wait till you see where grapes are made. You'll be surprised. And people think that salmon is amazing. It's the best fish ever. Go to a salmon farm, bro, and let me see if you're going to say the same after you visit a salmon farm. Don't visit it. Go on Google and put in salmon farm and see what actually is a salmon farm and how. The salmon is manufactured. Yes, manufactured. That's what it is. Salmon is manufactured. Crazy, crazy, crazy. This bread, this sourdough bread is more natural than the salmon nowadays, bro. Yeah. Probably the worst thing you can eat is salmon. And guess who used to love salmon? Me. I don't eat it as often, but you know, we was made to believe that tin tuna is bad, high mercury, all this kind of shit. And it's true, I agree with it. Eat fish, fish is better, it's more natural, it's more fresh, and I used to eat loads of it. And guess what, it is better. If fish was fish and fruit was fruit, it is great. It's way better than maybe chicken or steak or whatever. But fish isn't fish. And steak is kind of still steak, whereas fish is definitely just not fish no more. And fruits and veg are like, not the same. They're not even kinda, you know? So I would go for the kinda thing, like, a cow's still a cow, bro. How much are you gonna alter it? How much are you gonna change it? It still has to run around, it still has to do some shit. It still has to eat, it still has to, you know, be paraded in the streets of Spain. Honestly, that's to happen. But that is my breakfast. I'm gonna show you the nuts. And I'm gonna show you my drink. That's it, yeah. So I'll have cordial as well. I'll have my lemon cordial. And see you at the next meal. Okay, so many people don't believe me on this, but you can believe me if you don't. I don't give a shit, it don't really matter to me. I'll keep doing it. Right, let's put this on a flat surface. Now, I have not used this weighing scale in a very long time. I'm gonna zero it. I'm gonna put the ball on first, haven't you? Okay, put the ball on first, zero it, yeah. Now, I know how many nuts I have. Okay, so what I'll do, just to show you guys, I normally have around about 100 grams of nuts per meal. So like 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, I have 100 grams of nuts with it. Let me show you something, guys. Okay, so this is now 434 grams, zero. Okay, so this is how I measure this is how I weigh out my nuts. I don't use a weighing scale. I'll eat a little bit more than that, maybe that much. Okay, so that is how I do it. every single morning. I don't use the weighing scale, but I've got it out just for the video purpose. Now let me see how many I've measured in here. 114 grams. So let me just show you what 14 grams of nuts is. You guys can see that? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so there's 1, that's 2, 3, 4 nuts. So this is, oops. This is like, okay, there you go. Yeah, 101, 2. That's 14 grams of nuts. Maybe, she's gone to 4. But you get my point. That is it. So, very solid, these ones. That is what you guys think. If you go over this much food, you're going to add more fat because you've gone over your calorie expenditure for the day. You idiot. You absolute idiot if you believe that. If you think, don't go over 14 grams. 14 grams of fat extra. Better not burn those calories off. Let's work this out. 14 grams. What is your bozos on about? 14 times 9. Imagine, calculator. You get a calculator to work out your food. How much is my digestive system going to eat today? 14 times 9, 126 calories. If I eat more than 126, if I eat 126 calories less, I can... Shut up! you actually think... Let me just put that in perspective one more time, yeah? You idiots out there think that your whole diet can get messed up on that much nuts, this much nuts. You know what I do with these nuts? I wipe my ass with those kind of nuts. 14 grams of nuts is going to mess your diet up. Idiots. Absolute idiots. Anyway, you keep counting calories. I don't need to keep track of calories. Don't give a shit about it. How many calories was in my food today? Don't really know, bro. Don't really care. Let's check this out. 100 grams of nuts. My guess is about 50 grams of fat. 100 grams of nuts, 51 grams of fat, of which are saturates, 5 grams, of which are carbohydrates, 7 grams, and of the carbohydrates of which are sugars, 3.7. How did they know that? How did they know 6.5 grams were saturates? Fiber, 8.2 grams. How did they know the fiber intake on 100 grams of nuts? I have no idea. How? Does fiber also work on the calorie bomb? Is that how they do that? Protein. 27.1 gram of protein just in 100 grams of nuts. How did they work that out? 1.25 grams of salt, well, we know they can weigh that out. That is a good measurement. Salt. How the hell did they work out protein, fat, carbohydrates, sugars, fiber, fat, saturates? Are you guys actually not going to question this? You're actually going to sit there and think, you know what? Whatever it says on the packet, we're just going to blindly follow because that's what it says in MyFitnessPal. We'll just follow MyFitnessPal. If we go over 114 calories for the day, we're in actual calorie expenditure. And the calorie expenditure means that we're in a deficit. And if we're in a deficit, we're not going to burn. Shut the goddamn deficit. Listen, eat healthy food what looks good. Eat food that can go off. Eat food that your body can digest well. Eat food that's going to help your body grow. Eat food that's going to help your body burn fat. That's what you do. And if you eat too much, guess what happens? You get fat. And if you eat less, guess what happens? You burn fat. Very simple. It is not rocket science. It's not hard. You don't need to read the back of packets and MyFitnessPal this and MyFitnessPal that. Anyway, right. So how many calories and carbs was in this meal? I don't know. I don't give a shit. It was a good breakfast. 2 toast, whatever the hell that was. Protein from the eggs, roughly about, I don't know, 5 grams, let's say, per egg. I had 5 eggs, 25 in that 50. That's my 50 for the meal, done. Glass bottle. You can use plastic if you want, bro. Be my guest. But I like glass. I might have got that from some company. Right. I don't drink it, by the way, but other people in my house do. So what I do is I tell them not to throw out the bottles. I keep all the glass bottles. Right. Good. Got one of these filters things. Funnel filter? Funnel. This is the protein I use. Isolate gold standard whey. You can use any protein you like, whatever works for you. This is what works for me. I will get 1 scoop of this. So there you go, there's 1 scoop. Put it in. Let's do a little bit more than a scoop today, because I don't think I'm going to be training today. My weights, for my morning workout. I'm going to be doing weights, got a lot to do. Right, okay, easy. You guys probably used to doing this. If you've got one of these funnels, you have to shake it about a little bit. I don't know if I mentioned, guys, 100 ml water. Okay, so I only use 100 ml of water because I don't like to sit and drink my shake. I like to just 1-shot it or 2-shot it, and it's done. I'm not a big liquid kind of guy. And if you saw whilst I was eating, I do not drink any liquids. I will drink my drink after, in between my meals. I will drink. Often we'll go to a restaurant and they'll say, "Do you want a drink?" And I'm like, "No." And people will think you're being tight or whatever. No, I just don't want to drink with my food, bro. I might have something fizzy. If I'm out having something like a burger or fries or something like that, then you need something fizzy just to wash it down a little bit. But that is it. I don't actually like to drink a lot of liquid whilst I'm eating. Let my stomach acids do all the job. Hence why I don't like a lot of water in my protein shakes. I want my stomach acids to do all the work. And this is another tip that I've been using for many years. This is coffee, decaf coffee, before anyone gets into the whole caffeine. I do not have caffeine, so I don't like to make this too strong. I don't actually, well, it's not strong at all because it's decaf, so you can't really taste anything. Well, sorry, you can taste it, but you get no side effect from the caffeine. And besides, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is another thing that I read somewhere that fitted my narrative, so I kept it. It was something that I agreed with and something that I thought, yeah, I like the sound of that, so I'm going to keep it in. Just like we all do throughout life. When we like the sound of something, when something fits our narrative, we keep it and we use that as the gospel. And it's fine, it's okay to do, bro. Nothing wrong with it. The thing I'm saying is caffeine is added afterwards. So caffeine isn't actually in the bean itself, it's added at a later time. That's what I've heard. That's what I'm going to stick to. If anyone in the comments says, no it isn't, there's a little bit, tiny minuscule bit in the actual bean itself, it ain't enough to cause a spike in heart rate. That much I do know. Anyway, so that's it. That's my drink. I'll have this twice a day. I'll just give it a little swirl like this first, and then we'll give it a shake. See the confidence? See the confidence that I'm shaking this with? On my white top. Look at that. It takes a lot of balls to do that, doesn't it? You've got to know that your grip is good and that this is closed, proper, and that there's no drips, there's no spillage in order to shake a protein shake over a white top. Look at that. Look at the balls it takes to do that. Right, so there you have it. A drink with around about, let's get the exact amount. There is, in one serving, 25 grams of protein and 1.3 grams of carbs. So I probably got about 20, maybe 30 grams of protein in here, but about 2 grams of carbs. But who gives a shit? Right, so big backtrack on the whole meal. About 25 grams of carbs from there, about 25 grams of carbs from here, and about 25 grams of carbs from here. So this is how I normally neck it, if you guys really give a shit. One. Minimal liquid, just how I like it. I don't want anything else in there. You guys saw it. Water, protein, coffee, that's it. I've got enough carbs, I think, for the day. Sometimes I won't even have any more carbs, but today's a different day. We're going to see what happens today. I'm trying to bulk, see what goes on. So that is it, basically a standard breakfast for me. That is pretty much every morning at the minute. Nothing will change. If anything changes, it'll be the bread. But the other stuff, the protein, when I'm bulking, stays in. The nuts are something that are going to stay in regardless. Bulk or cut, these stay in. And again, eggs, if I feel like eggs, I'll have eggs. If not, it's going to be chicken, it's going to be steak, it's going to be a normal meal with nuts. that is my breakfast. One other thing as well. Again, something that fits my narrative. Coffee helps with digestion. I believe it does. I read that it does somewhere. Someone out there did a research paper that you can find on Google somewhere that says coffee messes with your guts, but the one I read says coffee is good for your guts. So I'm gonna read that one, stick to it, and use that as the gospel. And that's breakfast.